back. Sports Talk here on the Atlantic Television Network. Kesley is here, and together we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening around the world of sports. Earlier, we talked about the Nigerian Olympic Committee having a fifth-term boss, and that is Gumel, former president, now re-elected for another period of 4 years. And this will be the fifth time he will be leading the Nigerian Olympic Committee. But away from that, the president of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, Ahmed Musa Kida, has called on Governor of Taraba State, Darius Dixon, to renovate the Jolenyam Stadium so that it can be measured up to the standard to host national and international competition. Kesley, a lot of people have talked about facilities. We are all happy and elated about Morocco playing at the World Cup and getting to as far as to the third place match which comes up tomorrow. And one of the reasons behind the success of Morocco has been traced to provision of top-notch facilities which they use in discovering, developing, the talents that are gone to this level of the World Cup. And in Nigeria here, we seem to be having debts of facilities. Facilities are few, and where provided are not top-notch.
Yeah, not top-notch as it is. I think probably you should just give a bit kudos, to Delta, because in the just concluded National Sports Festival, we saw very, very befitting facilities. We saw a new Titan track, a new hockey pitch, and I think the athletes, were very much happy. They were excited with the high level of facilities they saw down there at Delta in the just concluded National Sports Festival. But apart from Delta, and then you come down to River State, where you have, a bit of good facilities as well. Then you move down to Abuja, where you at the MKO Abiola Stadium, which was just newly renovated. Of course, you have a bit of a good facilities down there. You take a look at it, other states, you don't have this top-notch facility. And a state like Taraba as well, where you see basketball talent as well, basketball players just trying to distinguish themselves. And that's why the president of the Nigerian Basketball Federation is actually urging the governor to make sure that the facilities are put in place so that Taraba can also be a state where talent can be unearthed, when it comes to basketball, as I say. So for me, I think facility is actually a key when it comes to sport development. Just like you mentioned, Morocco, they did a whole lot, when it comes to facilities, and that's why their football has been a very, very, a growing thing, down there in Morocco. You take a look at the women's football, take a look at the men's football. They're doing well, even in the league as well. They're also doing well. So facilities is really the bedrock, of growth, when it comes to sport. And I think it is then time that Nigeria should start looking towards developing and getting good facilities for sport development.
Facilities are key to the development of talent, and we want to see that. Kia is asking the Taraba State Governor to do everything possible to uplift the standard of the Jolly Yame Stadium in Jalingo. And of course, he believes basketball will be better off with such facilities out there in Taraba. Away from that basketball story now, we will now look at but just before we get out of basketball, there is a new development. At us last night, we are told that the 2023 African Basketball League now will be at 3 venues. Matches will be played. We understand there will be matches in Dakar, Senegal. There will be matches in Cairo, Egypt, and Kigali. Of course, that is in Rwanda. Knockout matches will be held from. We saw that I think match was held in Kigali in 2021, and this year as well. So 12 club sides looking forward to competing in 3 countries in Africa at the 2023 Basketball League.
It's going to be impressive. I think apart from the 2 editions, this one is taking another shape, as it is. And I think it's going to be very, very lovely where we see the Basketball African League as well coming. This is the 3rd edition of it, and we'll see what comes up, this time around. And we pray that the new side coming from Nigeria, talking about Kora Falcons, to be able to showcase themselves properly, because this is also going to be their first time in participating in the Basketball African League. River Supers, of course, they've been there, but they couldn't participate the last time out due to the crisis rocking Nigerian Basketball Federation. But Kora Falcons, we hope they'll be able to give us a better representation, because I think this edition will be a bit tough this time around.
Basketball League here in Africa, we understand the Sahara Conference will be competing from March next year in Dakar, while in Cairo, Egypt, we'll see the Nile Conference that will be in April to May next year. Well, the very finals will take place in Kigali, especially at that 10,000 capacity Kigali Arena where we saw action earlier this year. Basketball League in its third edition promises to be very, very commercial in value, because we understand a lot of money is coming in from the very popular NBA from the United States of America, who has a relationship with the Basketball League.
And that's what it is. And that's what it is. We expect growth at this moment. More money should come to basketball down here in Africa. And I think from what we're seeing, FIBA, they're trying most again to make sure they strengthen the basketball, African League as well. We hear that ticket, of course, will be on sale as well, and fans will be coming all over the country, all over the continent as well, down here in Africa, Europe as well, to watch this one. And that by selling ticket bill on sale, and also the NBA, of course, putting up that collaboration, I think there will be more money coming from coming for the Basketball African League, in this edition. I think with that also, team can also get huge benefits from it.
Basketball League in Africa to be hosted by 3 countries: Egypt, Senegal, and Rwanda for next year. Early actions starts in March 2023. Away from basketball, let's go to tennis now, where it is off-season, so to say. But towards the end of the year, we see celebrated and, of course, deserving tennis players being awarded. And Andy Murray is one of them, because he's been named the winner of the ATP Otto Ashe Humanitarian Award for the 2nd time after he donated his prize money for 2022 to people in Ukraine, aftermath of the Russian invasion.
I think it's a good gesture from Andy Murray. I think he's one of those, of course, that have really showed much a good gesture to the Ukrainians. Of course, when you mention people that have done that, you mentioned the likes of Andriy Shevchenko as well. He's also has also shown a very good gesture to them. Andy Murray is another man that we've seen. I think all of his earnings this year, he actually, of course, donated it to the Ukrainians. I think that's about £510,000, of course, that he gave to the Ukrainians. Of course, we know what really happens to the people of Ukraine, where we'll talk about the Russian invasion and all of that. So a lot of persons, are really suffering. Some persons are stranded, while some, of course, do not even have, what to wear and also what to eat. And I think it's a good gesture that we're seeing, from these sportsmen, trying to make sure they show much of, kindness, to the people of Ukraine. I think this is what the people need at this moment. The world should tilt their eye towards Ukraine, because a whole lot of persons there are really not having a very good time.
Aftermath of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, there's a lot of refugees and people who are finding it difficult to survive even inside of Ukraine. Meanwhile, the Andy Murray, of course, is British, announced in March that his winnings earning throughout the rest of the year will be donated to UNICEF, for who he is an ambassador. Russia has actually decimated a lot of areas in Ukraine, so it has left a lot of people in hardship. Congratulations to Andy Murray, and we hope that more celebrated stars in other sports will toe the line of Andy Murray. Meanwhile, still in tennis, former tennis superstar Boris Becker has been released from prison after serving a sentence relating to his 2017 bankruptcy. His jail sentence was celebrated many months ago, and now he seems to have gotten reprieve for this former superstar in the tennis.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in prison for 2 years, but I think after much process being done, the man was actually released yesterday. I think Boris Becker as well has not been on the good side of things, because from what we got, he was trying to hide his assets, in terms of him not
paying tax,
paying tax, and all of that, and he was being jailed and all of that. And so many persons were of the opinion of why did he take that gesture. But it's a good thing now that he has been released, but the fact is that he will be deported from the UK. So I think that's another sad part for him, but at least, gaining freedom is one good thing, and then probably he'll go back and re-strategize himself and look forward to seeing things going well for him.
Boom Boom Becker, a very popular tennis player in those days. He's 55 years of age now. He's won. He had actually won 6-time Grand Slam. He was 6-time Grand Slam champion, and it doesn't come so easy when you win the Grand Slam 6 times. But issues around him in the last few years. I've seen him in and out of police settlement. So we just hope that he can find himself out of trouble. But in this instance now, we mentioned he was jailed because of, let's say, bankruptcy and tax-related issue. We'll take a break now. When we return from the break, we'll bring you the last segment of the program where it will be devoted to football, especially with the FIFA World Cup. Just about 2 matches to go. We've played 62 games now, and the estimated 63 and 64 match will take place tomorrow and on Sunday. Details of what to expect on Saturday and Sunday when we return from the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and Kingsley Emmanuel is still here. Together we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening around the world of sports. Now we're into football, where after yesterday and today's rest day at Qatar FIFA World Cup, tomorrow will be action number 63, or the match number 63. And before we get to match number 63 at the World Cup, with just one more to the final, we've seen 62 games already played in Qatar. It looks like it was yesterday, but we've seen over 27 days of football action in Qatar that has produced 62 matches and 172 goals scored in the process. Kingsley, like I mentioned, it looks like yesterday, but we've seen over 27 days of football action at Qatar.
Yeah, it's been an impressive outburn, and everyone were looking forward to it, and now as well it's coming to an end. For me, I think it's been an impressive tournament so far. We talk about the group stage game was really, really huge. We saw so many upsets that we never, imagine as well. Morocco getting to the semi-final, of course, has been the most talked part, for the competition. So for me, I think it's really, really been an incredible. Even FIFA President Gianni Infantino attests to the fact that this Qatar World Cup has been the best, when it comes to the group stage games. And if you take a look at it, it's true, because so many upsets, coming up in that group stage. Saudi Arabia taking down Argentina, France, Tunisia beating France as well, Cameroon beating Brazil. Those were very, very fantastic football moments that no one ever imagined. So far, I think it's been an incredible one.
62 matches played, 172 goals scored, and we've seen multiple goal scorers in this competition. But it is built up to the Golden Boot, and the Golden Boot is being given to whoever scores more or the highest number of goals in the competition. Right now, we have Argentina and France in the final, and Lionel Messi, an Argentine player, has scored 5 goals, and a French player, Kylian Mbappe, has scored 5 goals. But there's a slight difference between these two, going by regulations of FIFA. It has to do with the number of goals. That could be, if 2 players score the same number of goals, they could be separated by what they call, what looks like a tie break, the number of assists you put into the competition or into the matches. Right now, Lionel Messi has 3 assists alongside his 5 goals. Kylian Mbappe has assisted twice. And so, if the World Cup was to end today, Lionel Messi would be the Golden Boot winner. not Kylian Mbappe?
Yeah, he would definitely be the golden boot based on the rule of the assists, of course, that both of them have registered so far. Lionel Messi having three and Kylian Mbappe two. But it's a good one, and it's a good thing that both will be playing as well in the final. So maybe any of them could possibly add to the goal tally at this moment. Of course, if Kylian Mbappe gets one, it means it should definitely be for him. But the man has said, right from time that he's not really looking forward for the golden boot. All he just wants is the title. Now, I will come.
By Sunday, we'll decide who goes over the golden boot. Will the Argentine players be playing for Lionel Messi to score the goals? Would there be a penalty? He scored about 3 penalties so far in this competition. And for Kylian Mbappe, we see him as yet another team player, and he's had assisted twice and scored 5 goals in the process. Well, one key stakeholder in football is the coaches. The coaches, we've seen 32 of them at the World Cup, and before the match gets into the semi-final, to the third place and final match, we've seen 10 coaches already been either they have been sacked by their countries, respective countries, or they've had to, either retire or mutually agree to part ways. The latest coach, to depart from his club, from his country, is the coach of Portugal. Remember, Portugal crashed out at the semi-final stage of the competition, and now it's the quarter-final stage of the competition, and they've had their coach Santos, Fernando Santos, leave his coach. They call it mutual agreement between the FA because he still had a contract with. Only 22 will still be on their job. 10 haven't left their job after they left the World Cup at different stages.
I think this World Cup as well has really come up. Teams, have been eliminated. They just quit their job, or maybe they have been sacked. They were hearing of Fernando Santos also living in Portugal. This is a man that has been in the team for almost, I think, 8 years now.
8 years,
8
yes.
years. He's been with them, and then I think he led them to the Heroes and also won the UEFA Nations League as well.
Yeah, he won the UEFA Nations League in 2019, but before that,
he has been on the wrong side of things, and all of that. And it all started in that game where he was substituted in the game against South Korea. He wasn't really happy that he was substituted, and in the next game, he was actually being benched. And so many fans, were not happy that Santos had to bench Cristiano Ronaldo, at the moment. And that really, of course, didn't really speak well. It brought in, a different mood in the team, and we saw what happened against Morocco. And after they were defeated by Morocco, the fans were not really happy with him. Meaning the Football Federation down there in Portugal wasn't really happy with him. That Cristiano Ronaldo is an experienced player, and at least he's supposed to be, be part of that particular match. And from that, I think that was where everything came up. And yesterday we got a report, and today we hear he has been sacked. For me, I think it's a sad one. And I think for me, he would have probably look forward to see how to put things straight. But he's a manager, and he's liable to take up his decision at any moment in time. Cristiano Ronaldo as well, we know he has been on the wrong side of things, and every manager should be very, very careful with the way they handle things, with Cristiano Ronaldo. But so far, so good. I don't think Santos has really had a bad time with the Portuguese national team. He has won a whole lot for them, but just this one, he even took them, to the quarterfinals of the competition. And for me, I think that should have probably they should have given him more time to stay. But this time around, he has parted ways with the side. So we'll just look forward to see who comes up next.
And talking about coming up next, one man is already in Portugal, but with his club side. Talking about Jose Mourinho. He's a Portuguese coach. A lot of people are thinking that he will be the next coach. Won the Euro Championship in 2016 and 2019. He won the Europe Nation League as well. Well, talking about coaches that are leaving their job, about 10 so far out of the 32 that went to Qatar for the World Cup. One coach that will not lose his job, we are very sure and cocksure of, is the coach of the Moroccan national team. They play tomorrow against the Croatia in the third place fixture. And talking about Walid Regragui, he is the very first African coach to play into the semi-final stage of the World Cup, and now again to the third place final. No other African coach has gotten that far. He just got signed on to the job less than 3 months ago, and now is in the third place match of the World Cup. No person in the Moroccan FA will want to think of relieving Walid Regragui of his job after this third place man coming up tomorrow.
That's very far. That's very far. When it comes to Regragui being sacked, I think it's very far from the minds of the Football Federation of Morocco as it stands. The man has really done a whole lot. Coming up, as the ship after the former coach, was sacked, brought in Hakim Ziyech back into the side, and we saw how formidable these players were. In Qatar, they had about 26 players, 20 from Europe, 3 home-based players, and also 3 Asian players. But we saw the chemistry and the mixture of the Moroccan national team from the group stage. Nobody gave them the chance. They were able to take away Croatia, Belgium, and Canada as well to qualify as one of the best team, in that group. They even topped the group as well, taking down business like Portugal and Spain. I think that is, a very, very huge feat, for the coach so far. Just like you mentioned, the first coach to take an African side to the semi-final of the World Cup is a very, very huge feat, and that's history that would not be easily forgotten as it is. And I will hope they will be able to come out very only against Croatia, another strong side, which we know, of course, they've been able to put up their dominance when it comes to a World Cup. Runners-up last time out in Russia 2018, but this time around they couldn't get past the semi-final stage. But to be, fighting for the third place position, and Morocco, of course, from what we saw against France, they really have to up their game. We hope the likes of the injured players, the likes of Sahis, and the rest of them will be able to get themselves, much intact, for that game tomorrow. But for me, I think it promises to be a very, very exciting match to watch.
Moroccan coach has the job. He definitely will be in charge of the team as they prepare for the African Cup of Nations qualifiers coming up later next mid-June, about June next year. But as we speak, Walid Ghouri, the coach of Morocco, is in a press conference getting ready for tomorrow's fixture. And one of his response to questions put to him as we speak is that his team will not concentrate on Croatian star player and captain Luka Modric, that it would be a big mistake if the Moroccan side concentrate on Luka Modric at the expense of other players. This is coming from the coach of the team, Morocco. Do you agree that much attention should not be paid on midfield general and captain of the of the Croatian national team, Luka Modric?
I agree because you take a look at the game against France. They paid attention a bit, to the attackers, the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Oliver Giroud, Dembele. And we saw the goal scorers wasn't even those who were expected. Hernandez, of course, wasn't in the picture that were a player that we expecting to score in that game. So I think the attention shouldn't just be on the stars, Brozovic, Modric, and the rest of them. They should probably, spread their game, tend to do their man marking and all of that, but not centering their efforts, on a particular player. Because when you center your efforts on a particular player, it means you lose focus on others, and probably they might capitalize on that. So I think for me, that is a very good game plan and a good strategy from the coach, ahead of that particular encounter tomorrow.
Well, Morocco takes on the counterpart of Croatia tomorrow, the third place fixture, and as we speak, the coach of the team is in, do I say tete-a-tete with newsmen out there in Qatar. We'll keep bringing you up to date with what's happening in Qatar, but don't forget, both countries did start their World Cup in their group fixture, and they ended goalless at that first match they played in Qatar. Now, both of them are in the third place fixture. Goalless situation in the first match, first game in the group stage. What do you make of it this time around? We've seen Morocco score at least 6 goals in this competition. Considered 2, then the third one was an own goal. We thought Morocco would not concede goal from opposition in this World Cup, but they've considered 2 now. So they didn't concede against Croatia. Can they concede tomorrow against this same Croatian side?
And that will be, what will come up, of the defense of the side, because we know that their defense has been very formidable, in this World Cup. Just the fact that their key defender, talking about Agid and the likes of Saiz as well, were not really fit as it stands, and that's why we saw that defensive lapses, in that game against France. But if they're able to come up strongly, and we'll see those players, being fit, I think the Moroccan defense, of course, will be tightened once more, in this particular encounter we're anticipating as it is. But for me, I don't think they will be conceding much, because just like you mentioned, first game ended goalless. I don't think they will really want to give that chance, to the Croatians to really penetrate the defense. But the only thing the Moroccans should do this time around to see how they can better and force the attack, in that particular encounter, because the only setback they had in the game against France was the finishing. Finishing was just, the problem for them. Though we saw them, they got some chances, but they weren't able to convert those chances properly, and that's just the problem we've seen, in this Moroccan side. If they can be able to strengthen the finishing strength, of the attackers, I think that will really go a long way in helping them secure victory against Croatia.
Well, while Croatia and Morocco prepare for the top place fixture coming up tomorrow, Argentina and France too are in preparation towards the very final of the 22nd edition of the FIFA World Cup. $42 million US is at stake. That's what the team that wins the World Cup will get. But whatever happens, we know now that the team that comes second will take home $40 million US, and the third place side will take home as much as $27 million US. So a lot of money is involved in this one. But before that final fixture tomorrow, on Sunday, between Argentina and France, there's been some kind of disturbing development coming to the camp of France. Remember, in the semi-final fixture, 2 of the players had illnesses traceable to flu, and everything is now being done in the French camp to ensuring that this flu do not spread to the other players as well, aimed at discapacitating their squad. If you remember, they had Rabiot out of this competition, and I think one other player, I can't remember his name now, Upamecano, to not out because of not part of the team because of flu. So everything is being done to check in the influx of flu affecting the French national team camp.
Yeah, from the reports, we hear that the rest of the players, they've been set aside, from these players that have been affected. These players
There's fever concern. Some of the players have fever, some of them have cold at this time around. And it's not only the players. We've had, a lot of visitors who come in who complain of this slightly, but of course it's understandable. We've had about 4 journalists passed on while doing their job out there, of course, associated with this flu, which has compounded their medical conditions, so to say. So I don't know. The French really have to be very careful with this flu bug.
They really have to be very careful. But from the reports we got, is the fact that those affected, of course, have been isolated so that they can properly be taken care of. And we hope they'll be able to get themselves properly before the match, on Sunday. And talking about this, I think we just pray that this doesn't just down the morale of the team or bring setback, especially when it comes to the key players, in the side. I think it's really affected the French national team if this continue. And the coach of the side, David Deschamps, as well, has come out to say that the ACs in the stadium has also been as a result why this flu, get to spread, because about 8 stadiums down there in Qatar, they have that have been installed with ACs as it stands. So why the cool air is going on, it means the virus is also getting to flow as well. I think that's also been as a cause of all of this, according to the coach of the French national team. But we'll pray that all of this doesn't bring setback, to the French national team ahead of that final against Argentina on Sunday.
Argentina takes on France on Sunday in a crunch World Cup final, 22nd edition in the 92-year history of the World Cup, and it promises to be very thrilling. If you remember, France are defending champions, and they want to see how they can meet up with the record set by Brazil and Italy as defending champions that did win the World Cup a second time. Can they do it? We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. But Argentina, they were last time winners 36 years ago. They want to return to win, and they have one man who is very desperate to keep date with history, Lionel Messi as well in the competition. We'll bring you up to speed with all that's happening, but for now, FIFA President Gianni Infantino is expected to be in a press briefing in the next 30 minutes or so. When we return on our program for Sports Extraordinary, we'll bring you excerpts of what the FIFA President is saying about the World Cup generally. But Kingsley, this from what we expect tomorrow, do you see the Moroccans upsetting the 18? They have the experience. They still have the bulk. Some of the players that played in that 2018 fixture, as against Moroccans that are playing in the third place match for the very first time in over 48 years that they've had to participate in the World Cup. That is
that I think the Moroccan national team will stand in a very good chance. And also, if they can be able to strengthen the finishing in the side, I think that will be another huge credit to them at this time. So far, so good. And the camp all for the Croatians, who've not really gotten much, injury worries, and that keeps them on a very good condition getting into that game.
Medal for tomorrow, will it be Croatia or it will be Morocco who are coming